Hello and welcome to the Surplus Geek Podcast. I'm Jake and I am joined once again by Bailey.
Hey, thanks for having me back on.
Of course. So today we're going to do kind of a weird podcast because it's a podcast and we are going to talk about stuff that is kind of visual, but it's all right. We'll figure it out. So today we're going to talk about kind of like the things to think about when you're going to display your mask for photographing. So to put it online, to put it on Instagram, for instance, and stuff. And the things that we've picked up on our way of doing it. And obviously these are all opinions and you can do it whatever you want. This is just us trying to give out some tips and tricks, I guess, to the trade.
It's kind of like a learn, adapt, and overcome situation.
Yes.
Because at first you're just not going to have the adequate supplies, I suppose, and have the resources to actually purchase or obtain the kind of things that you want to display, like let's just say your mask, your uniform, or whatnot. Even rucksacks, in a way.
Yeah.
Which I'm having trouble with right now. But
yeah, rucksacks are very difficult to display.
Yeah.
Especially if you have stuff in them.
Yep.
So, with all the things we're going to talk about, I guess it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be difficult because we're talking about visual items. You're just going to have to deal with the lack of visual cues or visual things. But we're gonna break down and talking about backgrounds, backdrops, lighting, angles, camera equipment, and what you can use to do that. I didn't even think about that. That's an added one right there. Yeah. And mannequins, head mannequin things. You know, the dress forms, turntables, and then even like handcrafted items, and then budgeting a little bit too, because you don't have to spend a lot of money, but we'll get into that. So to start, kick it off, I guess we'll talk about backdrops and backgrounds, because like I use an actual white sheet a proper setup and stuff, but you actually have a nice on top of your like dresser, yeah, with a white wall or light grayish, but it comes up as white in the photos.
I actually didn't really have a proper way of displaying or having a proper background as per se, but at first I started with like a few masks on my styrofoam head to show off what I actually collected and wanted to show off. And it was on a styrofoam head, put the mask on, put the accessories like the carrier and whatnot. And I think I put on a helmet on a few of them for what I've had. Like,
yeah, you do, yep.
A generation, like let's just say World War II mask. I put on an M1 steel helmet. World War One, World War II, World War One interwar period. And 1917 A1, or try to at least, like a kettle helmet.
Well, you try to, you attempt to match it up with something that's period correct.
I try, okay, guys?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I had that. Then the background was on top of the dresser, like the white background, but I had books. I had a whole display of books as that, and I didn't really like it because it didn't give me that much space to actually properly display and show off.
It looked good for the smaller items.
Yeah, like I said, small items, but I had some of the masks I have like a lot of accessories, so it was kind of hard for me enough as to display them properly. So I started just right now. I'm breaking down. I'm just taking a picture of the mask and helmet, let's just say, and the next picture of it will be like the accessories that might have been included or what I can fit onto the camera angle, or just a picture itself. Then just be like another picture of like what accessories might be included and whatnot.
Yeah, and like I was just thinking as you were saying that, if you want to do, like I went out and bought a stand that has I don't even know how to describe it, just a stand with a simple rod that runs across, like a curtain almost.
Yeah.
And it's just a drop cloth. But before that, I used particle board, like poster board, the good stuff, the thicker stuff. You can get it on Amazon for pretty cheap. And I got that idea from the MRE collecting world for their display videos, because a lot of the YouTubers do that, where they use Steve Emery, 1989. He has like this cool, it's a darker gray. I used white, but it's just for contrast. But he has like a dark gray, like I want to say like a particle board or like a poster board, and it's a couple of them set up and stuff, and it looks really good. It's a good non-distracting background. So you can do that. I think for backgrounds, if you have a white piece of wall or a light gray, or if you have a curtain that is nice and flat and iron. I mean, honestly, that's not even a big deal. If you look at my photos, most of I can't get it to be very ironed on, like to look good and stay ironed without there being creases. It's usually, I just kind of given up on that. But those are all things that you can do to like elevate. And again, like I said, if you can do it, like you haven't spent any money on a backdrop, you just cleared off your dresser and used the wall that's in your room.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could theoretically do it. This is like a cream, like not cream, but like I forget the name of the paint, but it's that kind of creamish white, I guess. I don't know. It's a standard. It's what when you go to sell your house, everyone always uses this as the. I just never repainted the walls when I bought this place. That's just how it is. But because you always want to start off with the white. We're not going to get into that, but it just makes it easier to repaint when you move in and stuff. But you can do those things to elevate your, the show off because the light. And the thing is, you can do a cluttered backdrop because some people think you don't want to have cluttered backdrop at all. If you do it right. Like you had the books. I actually like obviously from a staging perspective, it's harder for you to maneuver around and get and stuff. But the books looked really good. It gave a nice backdrop. It was kind of a display in its own right, and you kind of just went, or like even Duke's, famous wooden floor backdrop.
The corner.
It was the corner. Yeah, the corner. It's clean. It's the same. It's consistent. You know who it is. There's something. I mean, he's switched. He's upgraded too, but like that style was like him. For the longest time. So it doesn't need to be an expensive thing. And again, we'll talk about budgeting later because I think you don't have to worry about it too much. I think there's things that you want to put your budget into, which honestly leads into, I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but because I think backdrops, I mean, there's not much more to it than that, that I can think of off the top of my head.
I've seen people do, like you said, white cloth backgrounds and stuff like that, and bookcases,
yeah, bookcases,
walls, like
shelving units.
Yeah. I'm actually using a door right now for my Vietnam mannequin display right now. It's not too bad, but it's just like it could be better.
Nothing CBRN on Instagram. He's got his posters in the background. He's got kind of the like a cork board almost kind of thing going. That's what looks really good. He has good. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking the right person, right?
Yeah, things.
Yeah. He's got. Well, it's because Discord and Instagram.
Yeah, it's intertwining.
Yeah, different names and stuff. But yeah, he's got a cool backdrop. That's not. Again, it's not. He actually has things in the background that don't detract. That actually add to what he's taking photos of. So, like, honestly, if you're looking to start upping your game, just start looking at other collectors. There's tons of them out there and stuff. You can get I mean, if people do the poncho liner backdrop. Or some sort of camo item in the backdrop. That one I like, but it only works for certain items. You got to be careful when it starts to take away from the detail and stuff. That's the reason why I use white is just because you get most of the time maximum detail on the item you're looking at, especially gas masks where a lot of it's a darker material and stuff. Yep. You lose a lot. Some things have been just very difficult to get a good lighting or not have too much. The blacks be too deep and the white be blowing out the image and stuff. I'm not really a photography person, so I've been just learning this stuff as I go. But that goes into lighting, and I from the beginning, before I even started the Instagram and I first started thinking about this, I bought a cheap set of lights for like $25 off Amazon, and honestly they were garbage, but they were a good test platform, and they were small enough to fit with the particle board because you got to think of I now have a decent, I wouldn't say good. I'm eventually going to get some LED like programmable lights, like things that you can change the intensity and even the hue. But I don't have the money for that right now, so budgeting. But the lights I have right now, they're stand lights. There's one right next to you. I use the thing to also keep in mind with lighting is diffusing the light. I have umbrellas, light diffusing umbrellas. They're just like white material. They just help take away the harshness, I'm pretty sure.
And probably illuminate the area better.
Yeah, and you want to you don't want the shadows to be as harsh. I don't know. Again, I'm not a photography person, so I don't know 100% all this stuff, but I know like the general
I haven't taken
idea.
photography since high school, and it's been like 5 years.
I have no formal training. I'm just making this stuff up as I go along.
Not to do why, but
yeah,
my photos somehow come up relatively nice.
Some of mine do, some of mine don't.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But and we'll get into some of the other things. But for you use just your room lighting, right? You don't actually have a
natural lighting, room lighting. Pretty much, that's it.
Yeah, natural lighting can be amazing if you get like a good sunny day and it's coming in the right way.
Yeah,
you can really use it. Obviously, as time's going to move, that lighting's going to change. So you have to keep that in mind if you're doing multiple photo sets. But yeah, natural lighting's a good way. don't really allow natural light into this room for, again, what we talked about in the preserving history episode. I want to try to keep everything from being sun bleached, and it's also, we're on the opposite side of the sun rises. So the only time there's even sun on this side of the house is towards the end of the night.
Yep.
Or the afternoon. But yeah, I think that lighting is very simple. You don't have to go crazy. You can use a ring light. I mean, I'm personally not a fan of ring lights. I just don't. I think it's a mono light. I use 2 lights projecting from both sides at like a 45-degree angle from the object. Cameras in the middle, and that way you get kind of eliminate the shadows, and you get a decent amount of light fill, on the object, and it really helps with when I do the rotating shots, which we'll get to turntables later. But I don't know if there's anything you want to add for lighting.
I'm trying to think of something on top of my head, but like
it's kind of like just make sure that
we're not experts in this area, as you can tell.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's the whole point of this, is the things that we've learned. Because like I don't use my office lights because they are too warm, I guess. They're just too warm.
I guess you could say it like that.
Yeah, when they come up in the camera, they come up very warm.
Yeah,
I can color correct and stuff, but I like the cooler nature of the lights that are in my setup. So for me, it produces the image that I'm looking for and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't actually have this on the list, but we're cameras.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we didn't. I don't know how I missed this, but cameras are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you're on a budget, you can do what I do. If you have a good phone or a good enough phone, if you have a newer iPhone, a newer Samsung, you're set. As long as the software that you're using has a lot of the ability to edit what you're looking at. Not edit, I guess change the parameters of the camera. So you can change how much light is coming in, the white balance, obviously focus. Sometimes autofocus is great. Sometimes you need a manual focus.
Yep.
Turntable shots, I have to manual focus because otherwise it will autofocus as the object turns, and it looks really funky in the video. I made that mistake in the early ones. You can actually kind of see it in some of the early turntable shots. But if you have a family member who has a good camera,
which I do,
yeah, or just a decent camera, use it. Take advantage of it. I don't know what camera you have, but
I think it's a Sony. I forget which one it is, but it's my dad's, and I just pretty much borrowed it. But now it's, I guess,
kind of become yours.
It's kind of in my possession as of now.
You borrowed it for good.
Yeah, air quotes. But it's pretty good job.
Yeah, you don't need to go out there and buy $1,000 camera.
Oh God,
I know the photography nerds out there are gonna be like, no, you have to go out there and buy the greatest camera. And don't get me wrong, like one day I'd like to get a professional camera to do all of this. But right now, I have a Samsung S20, the plus one, the middle ground one, and I honestly, it's got enough camera options. It's got tons of options in its pro version of the software that comes with it. That you can do everything I do is through that. I have it set up so that like I have the white balance and all the, there's no filters I have to run through it anymore. I just switch to it. I'm good to go. Boom. And I just start going. And I would suggest if you have a good phone, stick with your phone.
Yeah, use a bipod and your phone should be set pretty much.
Yeah. You find some sort of stand for it and stuff. They're like $20-$30 on Amazon or, wherever you can find them. That's perfect. That's all you need. The stand that I bought in 2017. I'm still using the same stand. I think I've changed just the actual phone holder thing because the original one was kind of not good for getting. If I had to turn my phone 90 degrees and get like a different shot angle, it didn't work that well. It'd just fall over. Yeah,
it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Well, it was how it turned, how it locked in on the phone. And it just wasn't that good. But and like I had to get another one anyway. I have 3 of them now because one for the teleprompter. I had to get one that was lower profile, but because I use my phone with my teleprompter as well. So no one knows that because I haven't done anything with it. But future purposes, one day I'll get there.
One day
I still have some scripts to write. But yeah, I think cameras are pretty obvious. You don't need to go crazy. It doesn't need to be 4K. quality. You just need to be good enough. Like I don't shoot. I think I shoot I shoot for Instagram. I shoot 1x1 for obvious reasons because you got to square it because Instagram.
Yeah,
which is annoying, but I get it. But my camera does have a 16:9 4K option for shooting, and I don't usually use it unless I really have to, like unless I need to get the detail. I think on the M42 that I did, where I have that close-up shot of the hose, I think I used 16:9, and then I cropped it because I wanted to get the fine detail on the date rondel. But
yeah, the Instagram cropping system is actually kind of dumb.
Yeah, the 1x1 is kind of annoying because it really limits you on images and stuff. You really have to pull back, especially for me because I'm doing everything in my office.
Yep.
So if I want to do a kit shot, which is one of the reasons why I haven't really done kit shots, and even the mannequin, doing the mannequin is extremely difficult in this office. I actually have to raise my the mannequin's a 3/4 mannequin. We're actually getting the mannequins in a second here, but I actually raised my backdrop to put it up on boxes because the mannequin's just slightly too tall to get it all in shot without getting the top of the bar that's holding onto the backdrop, and I can't lower it any further.
No, you can't.
It's at the bottom of its thing, and I can't stand it up on itself without the stand because it just fall over because there's something holding it. I gotta figure out I gotta design something with that.
Not only that, you and me are working with two different mannequins at the same time.
Yep.
Well, they do have the same structure.
It's the same mannequin. It just yours is a half body.
Yeah.
To get into mannequins, there's half body. There's no head. There's no arms. There's unlimited options for mannequins.
For the half bodies, for my half body post, can people stop commenting Lieutenant Dan or Forrest Gump quotes? Or are you too short for the army? Yeah, I get it. It's not funny.
Oh, it's funny the first time.
It's funny the first time, I'm not going to lie.
Maybe the second time.
When it gets repetitive after like 15 times or 20 times on the
He is a shorty, though.
He is a shorty.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think actually, honestly, mine's more Lieutenant Dan than yours.
He's just built different.
Yeah, mine's more Lieutenant Dan than yours because mine actually has the thigh.
Oh, kind of.
Yeah. Lieutenant Dan did have thighs.
He did have thighs.
He was, I think, right below the knee or right at the knee.
I think right at the knee.
Yeah, right at the knee amputation. But yeah, you have options of 3/4 step thighs, so you can do pants. You have full body.
Yeah.
Which I consider getting full body, but
it's kind of weird.
You get into issues with like if you don't I try to buy so I can wear if I need to.
Yep.
If I buy boots for me, it doesn't fit the mannequin. I'm not buying another pair of jungle boots, for instance, just to fit the mannequin.
Yeah.
So it's like, like with the mannequin's head, the egg head. No offense, Manny, but it's yeah, I do call him Manny. The egg head. It's like kind of too big compared to like a standard head that you can get, like mannequin head little form thing. It's like oddly bigger.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too.
It's weird. Yeah. I don't know if they were trying to like have a factor in hair with him or something. Like it's just his head is just slightly.
I don't know really.
But either way, for mannequins, your options are wide. They're expensive. Even on the cheap end, they're expensive. If you see a store closing, jump on that.
Yeah.
Get one for free because usually stores they're either free or really cheap, $5-10. I wish I would have did that. There's been a couple stores that closed recently in the last, a lot of stores.
Last year, pretty much.
Yeah, last year, yeah. But it's a little harder in COVID because a lot of stores were just liquidating and then not saying anything because they can't really have people come in.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, but yeah, if you're near a place and you know a store is closing, definitely jump on it.
Check it out first. Yeah. See what they got.
Because you might be able to get a full or half or 3/4. I recommend against getting mannequins without heads because it really limits you. So, like for instance, before I got the mannequin, I used a dress form, and it's because my girlfriend had a dress form, and I realized, oh, I can use this kind of as a mannequin. The only problem is the dress form doesn't have a head, so I can't do gas masks on it. I can't do helmets on it.
Hats.
Can't do hats. Can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I also didn't have arms, which meant I couldn't. Sleeves that have nothing to them, and I couldn't hang anything on the sleeves. Couldn't do a backpack because there's nothing holding on to it. Just slides right off. It did make putting it together faster. The mannequins can be a real pain to get set up. I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely.
the arms really get in the way.
It takes me a while to like adjust and get everything right and stuff like that.
For reference, the variable body armor post that took 2.5 hours to get right.
Jeez.
to take it. Well, because I had to take photos.
Yeah.
I set it up. The thing kept wanting to fall over. It almost knocked me out a few times. Because you're down on your knees, like trying to get the calm down, trying to get the belt right and stuff. The thing starts to twist, and next thing you know, he's coming down on top of me with all this weight and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, my girlfriend's gonna find me knocked out one of these days.
Trying to make a move on you.
Yeah, so this is a PG-13. This is a PG, podcast, but the. So mannequins, I recommend mannequins if you have the space. That's the other thing to consider with mannequin. You have to store the mannequin.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there.
It's always an issue collecting them no matter what. No matter what you collect, it's always an issue.
Yeah, I need more boxes.
No, you don't.
No, I do.
You have no space for boxes, dude.
Oh, I need to organize my basement and then make sure it's nice.
Yeah, fill that box full of 200 child masks.
It's 117.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, you're a nerd.
Well, I had to find out what I got. Anyways, so besides my hoarding ways, mannequins are great. Head forms are great. Just don't leave your masks on the head forms
For too long.
We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
It's fine to a degree. Like I have my M1 right now on my mannequin. It's fine. It's not gonna, the liner's in good shape. It's not going to cause any major problems. It gets rotated out. So, but those are things to consider to mannequins, I guess. I don't know. Like, there's much more to add on mannequins. It's kind of a weird.
No.
Kind of a weird thing because I feel like not everyone's going to need it. Real quick, because I was thinking about it earlier, handcrafting things. You can make like a stand out of wood. I've seen a lot of people do it on Insta.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
It's cheap.
It's cheap. You just need wood. And like your parents, if you're younger and your parents won't allow you to buy a mannequin because it's kind of weird. Like I can see a parent being like, oh yeah, you want to do a wood crafting project? Yeah, why not?
It's hands-on.
Yeah, it's hands-on. You're learning. You might be able to get your parents involved. Like, there's an element you could play it to your advantage to get your parents and stuff. Because we got to consider, like, I'm always when I'm trying to do this, I'm always going to consider, like, if you're under the age of 18,
Yeah.
or you don't have a lot of money, how can you get around some of this stuff? The lighting, if you don't have a lot of money and your lighting's not good, try to pick an outdoor area where it's obviously not going to destroy your stuff, and the weather's good and stuff. Pick a good day. That it all kind of factors in and stuff. But yeah, making one out of wood is not a terrible idea. It's actually a great idea. I've seen a lot of people do it, and it looks great. And you can do it for body armor. And not only that, the wood ones are probably a little bit more stable than a mannequin because you're designing it in mind to hold this heavier stuff. Mannequins are not designed to hold body armor with a rucksack on the back.
Yep.
I found out that hard way when the thing almost took me out.
I'm probably gonna find out the hard way very soon.
Yeah, you might have to tie that thing down to
Yeah.
have a string coming off of it.
Yep.
I bought sandbags, like bags to fill up with sand, not like proper military ones, just film sandbags to put on the base, so the thing doesn't fall over on me all the time. It only has one leg too. That's another thing to consider with the 3/4 one. That only has one leg, one stand, so it twists.
Mm-hmm.
So that also causes issues because you're putting stuff on, and next thing you know, it starts to twist. Well, when it gets past a certain point, it's no longer stable. It wants to just eat the dirt. So
yeah, I had issues with mine when I first
well, that's why you don't really
tinkered with mine pretty much.
You don't really use the stand, do you?
What do you mean?
Do you just have yours on the ground, or is yours got a rod running through it?
Mine has a rod, so it has like a base plate, like a metallic base plate,
and then you have the rod going through it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like right in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured. That one, I wish I could have it lower but the way it has two rods that interface with each other. One that interfaces with the mannequin itself. One that interfaces with the stand.
Yep.
And there's a point to where it can't go any further. So, and the one that connects to the stand is a wider diameter than the hole that is the mannequin. So I can't even just use the one and not have the other. At least I had a hard time with it. I don't know. I might be able to take out the mechanism that screws down on it and be able to get away with it, but I don't know. I haven't messed around with it. I kind of skipped this one. I kind of wanted to have it after lighting, but angles.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So for angles, it's pretty much like a high angle, low angle, side angles are pretty much like the basic stuff, really.
Yeah.
Like, let's just take a lighting for example. Pretty much, you want to take a picture of, let's just say, a mask. It's black, it's dark, and it has a stamp on there that you really can't get a good angle on it. So you take different angles. Pictures of angles that you think will be a good enough picture for your post or something like that, or for display.
More is better too when you're taking photos.
Oh yeah. So you can just go through and just, be like, hey, this isn't good. So you just delete it.
Yep.
And you find the perfect one pretty much.
Basically, yeah. You want to take as many as you can and then go afterwards and figure out which ones are good. Or be a perfectionist and just nail it the first time. But I can tell you, a lot of the things you see on my Insta, I've had to take multiple
Oh yeah.
photos to get right and stuff because something is always out of focus. Especially with the turntables. The turntables are very difficult to do. But yeah, angles. And, just keep that in mind when you're doing it. Like you said, you might have to do some funky stuff, some funky setups. Use like I use the little block you see in my Insta. I guess I didn't even think about adding this in there. Little props to keep things up and stuff. Small things. That little block is actually is my phone case that my phone came in that I duct taped.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect size. It's nice and black, so it's kind of neutral and out of the way. And I use that to stand up masks. I use that to anything that, when I do the carriers and stuff to stand them up. I just put that prop it behind it. Something like that is perfect. It's lightweight, so it's not doing anything to get in your way. It's not hard to maneuver and stuff, but it's got enough to displace to keep things where you want them and stuff.
I guess if you use that prop, like, it's seen, like it's visible all the time in your post when it's like and it's frequent, I guess it could be considered as a trademark, I suppose, to your account.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I've seen stuff like people post their mask and gear and stuff like that. Then they'll have like that little certain prop, or just a little,
it's like the corner from Duke.
Yeah,
kind of became his trademark a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that was unique to him. Not saying that he has to keep that, but because I know he's upgraded to a backdrop and whatnot. But it's just something that like it became kind of so like famous for him
and consistent, like you said.
Consistent. When you go on the Wikia for gas masks, that a lot of the photos you know which ones are Duke's without even seeing the credit because it's like, oh yeah, it's Duke's corner.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind and stuff. And the same thing, like you said, it's anyone that has a unique backdrop. And the thing is, you don't necessarily have to have a unique backdrop. If you feel like you can figure out a way to do it where it's going to look good, go for it. I mean, again, like me, I'm doing a very basic, because I'm just doing white backdrop. It's very basic. It's very like anyone can do kind of thing.
I was going to comment that like I don't like it because it's how basic it is.
Yeah, no, and I totally know that. I did it purposely because I wanted to keep it. I don't want to distract from what I'm showing, and I don't want to be too. I can't think of a word for it, but like, I don't know, out there in your face, I guess, I don't know. But I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Because for me, I'm trying to show off the item. I'm not trying to be, look at me. I have this cool thing. I'm not saying that's what people are doing when they have their cool setups. I'm just saying that, like, I didn't want to come off as that way,
That's understandable.
With the angles, a good tool, and you'll see some people use this, is turntables. I know you have no experience with turntables.
Oh, God, no.
But I remember about a year ago, maybe even more, it dawned on me that, what's a cool way to display gas masks for Instagram? This is before I really started posting the Instagram. I have a few posts from back then, but they're not good. And I was like, oh, I could buy an electric turntable. At first I was like, I'll buy, Lazy Susan is what some people call them, but and then I was like, but if I have an electric one, I could just have it spin, record it, and there you go. And that's the birth of those. And I'm not saying I'm the first person to do that, but for me, it was a unique idea to my brain because I just hadn't thought about it. And then I put it in action, and I think it came out pretty good. I wish I would have did a little bit better of a job with those, so I apologize for them not being perfect. But because like when I started doing the kits later and having the stuff laid out and then having the thing, that's such a better setup.
Oh yeah,
it looks so much better. I wish I would have did that from the beginning, but it's kind of hard to do because I have to pre-think that one because my stuff's so packed away that if I don't have, I have to find the carrier. And I got to find all the extras, the accessories. And it's like, oh.
It's always a losing battle.
It is. I have to, like I said, I have to pre-plan. All those ones that were recent, I had to have everything like already out and ready to go somewhere that I can easily find so I could just swap out and stuff. But I would say turntables are definitely something to consider, something to use if you can. And they're cheap. The electric one is a little expensive. I spent, I think, $80 on the electric one.
That's not bad.
But it holds, I think, up to like 60 or 70 pounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, does it actually hold up to 60 or 70 pounds?
Have you tried?
No.
You should try.
I honestly don't want to find out. It doesn't.
You should.
There's a reason why those videos don't have sound, because it just sounds like grinding.
Like that.
Yeah,
Like
it's
creaking, all that stuff.
It's pretty bad. It's not fun. So, yeah, that's why I always mute them. I have a second turntable that is for the mannequin that's not electric. That way, when I'm setting it up, even though he always wants to fall down because I built a second leg for him out of PVC, but it makes it easier to just be able to spin them, because once I have the backdrop up, I start putting up the lights and stuff, and I'm like, it's very difficult to turn him in place. That metal base plate is actually surprisingly heavy. It's not heavy enough to not let him fall over, but it's heavy enough to be a nuisance to turn.
Yeah. Well, at least on hardwood floors like I do, because I actually scratched my floor because I didn't have any foam padding or anything like that below it.
Yeah. See, a turntable would help you in that.
Yeah. So I actually had to buy foam padding so you don't destroy
your floor.
Yeah.
I'm on carpet, and this carpet's getting ripped up eventually, so yeah, I don't care. It's going. But I think that gets into a lot of it. The last bit I want to talk about, which should take up the rest of this, is budgeting. And the reason why I want to bring it up is I think it's important for people not to worry too much about this, and to do the best they can with what they have, and not to go blow their whole budget on cool guy stuff for photography, unless it's your thing. If photography is your thing, go right ahead, because it will apply to other things in your life. But my thought process, my mentality on it is the least amount of money I can spend on equipment means more money to spend on surplus. Yeah, it's true though. If I want to expand my collection, if I want to buy a piece, if I don't want to worry about the next thing I buy, I want, unfortunately, like doing the podcast, I had to spend over $1,000 to do this podcast, because I wanted to have the podcast. I wanted it to be good. I wanted you guys that are listening to not have terrible audio. I wanted us to be able to hear each other across the, so that we could, it was clear and wasn't stumbling over each other. So I went out, I didn't go like crazy. I didn't buy the best out there, but I went out, did the research, and found the best budget I could get. And it still cost a lot. Like I had to buy a new laptop because I needed something quiet enough that we could record in the, and I could have running, because my gaming PC is way too loud. And I can't blame anyone. It was my fault. I built the thing. But I never thought about it when I was building. I didn't think about being quiet because I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Yeah. And it was. And it definitely picks up. And you guys don't want that. But so I went out, and I didn't necessarily have to do that. I could have did editing and stuff, but it made the whole process
more painstaking, pretty much.
Yeah, it made it way worse. You got to do a noise profile, cancel it out and stuff. And this worked out pretty well. But yeah, so like the less money you spend though on equipment means more money you could spend on the surplus that you want. And especially if you are on a budget. It doesn't matter if you're underage and you have to work. You're either doing chores, or you're getting birthday money, or you have a part-time job that doesn't pay that well. Or if you're an adult and you have adult responsibilities, you have a house or you have an apartment, you're paying rent, you have car insurance, you have car payments. Obviously those things need to be the first things you deal with, and then you buy a surplus because it's a hobby. But the more money you're spending on equipment, the less money you're then spending on surplus, which is depleting your budget for that. And I think that's important to budget out. We've talked briefly about getting the best deals on eBay and the eBay episode. We might do another whole episode on that eventually, about like why it's important, or like budgeting and stuff. I've alluded to this a few times, like budgeting and being an adult, and how it can be both great and bad at the same time. Because like younger me would be like wowed by my collection. Same for your younger self. You'd be like,
I don't know. I could probably do better.
I think you're fine. You got a pretty good collection.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I could probably do better.
Remember,
I just know it.
Well, yeah. Obviously, you want to improve it.
Yeah.
We've talked about defining a collection to you and stuff, but not to call back too much to previous episodes. But these were all kind of the whole idea of these episodes. These first couple episodes, these first few episodes, really. I like the idea of building upon the last in a way. We kind of started off what is collecting, why do we do it, and we built into like buying, and then preserving, then researching, and now we're talking about displaying for photography and stuff. I mean, obviously we talked a little bit about displaying in the preserving thing because people want to display their things, and obviously I have my wall of mass, and you have your cool World War I display in the cabinet thing.
Yep.
So, And we talked about that. But this is more going, and that actually, that's another thing too. If you have a really cool cabinet that has like a built-in light, that you can use that for photography.
Oh yeah, you could.
You know, I mean, you have a post on that, and that's a really cool thing too. I mean, displaying could be anything, like your hanger setup, your with all your jackets on it and stuff. That's cool too, and you could show that off. It doesn't have to be like professional environment and stuff. You don't always have to have a backdrop. It just when you're doing it, make sure like you don't have a Coke can sitting in the view or something. Like make sure it's clean and dusted, and you know, that's just simple things. I mean, you don't have to go crazy. Not all my masks are fully dusted when they go onto the turntable, because honestly, a lot of times I'm running home from work, running in, knocking out that to get it done because it's like midnight.
Yep.
And then, you know, I just give them a quick wipe down. But those are the things to consider with that. And to emphasize budgeting again, to get back to it, you know, budget for the future. And don't be more, I don't want to say be more worried, but be more conscious of getting the thing that you want when you can, than worrying about having the proper equipment, because that will come in time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm kind of a perfectionist in my own right, and I didn't want to wait around, so I went out, I put it on a credit card, I bought the stuff, I did what I needed to do to get the podcast stuff, to get the stuff that eventually will be used for YouTube, to get the stuff that I currently use for Instagram. I didn't want to wait for it. I mean, I kind of ate it a little bit because I couldn't buy I missed a lot of items.
Yeah.
So, and I have a decent amount of debt to deal with. But, you know, and that's something as you get to be an adult, you got to consider when you're doing this. This can get expensive real quick, and you got to pre-plan and stuff. I don't want to get this too heavy on this topic, but it's just something I think that is important. And I don't want people, I hope people don't get too worried about it, too hung up on it. You know, especially with the photography and stuff. Because I know I do. The reason why I guess I'm talking about this is because a little bit of projection. Because I worry about my photography. I worry about how good it comes up. Because again, I'm not classically trained in any of this. I have no college. Well, I have like 6 weeks of college, but drop out. You know, I only have my military training, and that definitely does not apply to any of this. At least
to a degree.
Well, it does apply to the like. It applies to the use, I guess, and the like. What I can draw from my own experiences, but it doesn't apply to the photography. It doesn't lighting, all that stuff.
Unless you're a war correspondent. That's
true, but no. I mean, I had a guy that tried to convince me to be, you know, not like a combat photographer kind of thing, go into the PR business in the Army.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be in anymore. So, but I had a long 2-hour conversation. He's like, "You should switch over," and I'm like, "No, I don't really want to reclass. I'm good. I'm just gonna do my time and get out." But, you know, it's something to think about, and you don't have to be classically trained, but I will say that, like, there is an infinite number of resources out there. Like, lighting, I went and followed, I think it's like Epic Light Media is the YouTube channel. I recommend it. If that's the name, I'll try to, I don't know, I can't remember, but it's a great YouTube channel. It really focuses on lights, a little bit on cameras, gives you a really good idea of what you can do to just they do interview format too. Like they'll show you how do you lighting for an interview, and all the different things using natural lighting, using just different lights, even budget lights, lights that they found in their basement and stuff to try to get the most out of it. Because when I first started testing photographs, I had my 2 lower tier lights from Amazon, and I had an overhang light that my parents used for workshop. And was it correct?
Yeah, it is Epic Light Media.
Okay, yeah, they're a good YouTuber if you want for lighting and stuff. But amazing. Yeah, they had this lighting that they use. It's just a clamp-on light. Clamp-on light that you can just show up on the wall. And they were using it because my parents renovated the house that I grew up in. And I just borrowed that, and I just clipped it on top, and I had an overhang light because the 2 not good lights that I had were not projecting enough, and it was creating these weird, sharp shadows. I didn't have diffusing umbrellas or anything. And it's just one of those things to think about and stuff. And that was the whole point of this episode. I know I kind of took over a little bit on this one, but...
Oh, no worries.
I think when it comes to thinking about it, I'm a little too intense on this stuff. I do a lot of research. That's why the YouTube's taking so long. A lot of research, not just on the topic that I'm trying to do. I'm writing scripts. I'm trying to learn how to do better at all this stuff and try to improve the workflow and stuff. I've recorded some episodes, but like they're just not to my standard. So I'm going to re-record them. It's kind of a fault because I always do this where I go overboard. But I mean, the fact that you're listening to me right now on a podcast shows that I don't go that overboard because I'm actually, getting some stuff out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something to think about. So I think that's, unless you have anything to add, I think we covered everything.
I really don't know what to say else because I think we covered like a majority of the stuff that we wanted to talk about anyways.
Yeah. And again, caveat, this is opinions. This is just stuff that we've learned. I just wanted to get it out there so people had something, because I think there's a lot of people that just, they either not thinking about it or they thinking about it, they don't know where to go. And I wanted to, just pass on that knowledge. Because it's not just about research. It's not just about collecting. That's why we did the preserving history. It's why we did the eBay. It's about how to get it, how to take care of it, how to display it, how to, there's so much more that goes into this. And, we all learn different ways to do it. Or, and there's a lot of crossover. And it's just good to throw it out there and get our ideas out there. Even if and the thing is, there's going to be someone who's going to listen to this right now. You definitely have a better way to do it than we do. 100%. I know you have a better setup. I don't know. I'm not talking to anyone specific, but there's someone out there that's going to have a better setup, a better idea. It's going to work better for them. You got to find what works best for you. And I know that's kind of cliche, but that's just, that's what you got to do.
I've taken inspiration and so have others from other accounts.
Oh yeah.
You can base it upon that, but you do something that's, good for you.
Yeah, it works.
You don't have to do everything step by step of what they've done. You do something that works for you, especially in the climate and stuff like that. What's good enough for you.
Yeah. And I also say that too. With that, it's fine to copy people. Don't be afraid that just because someone else done it, that you can't copy them. Mm-hmm. Because if they're doing something that looks good, it's fine if you do it. Just don't go around saying it's a unique idea or original idea to you, because honestly, nothing really is an original idea. Like the turntable thing, it definitely is an original idea. I've seen it before. The mannequin thing clearly is not original. The using wood to make a frame, not original. None of that stuff is original. It's just, but they're good ideas. And if they keep showing up, clearly they're working. So don't be afraid to use them. Don't be afraid that Bailey does a mannequin, so I can't do a mannequin,
No, go right ahead. I don't care.
Because for me, it was I did the dress for him, Bailey did a mannequin, and then I was all right, now I'm going to do a mannequin. Because
you stole my idea, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
But the thing is the dress form was kind of the testing for me at least, because that's kind of what convinced you to do the mannequin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you saw the dress form, you're like, wow,
I could do better.
Kind of, yeah, and well, again, the dress form was great, and that's the thing. If you have a girlfriend, wife, mother, sister, boyfriend, husband, cousin, anyone in your family has a dress form that's not currently using it, ask, borrow it, use it for your uniforms. It won't be able to do everything, but you can do some cool stuff with it. You want to show off some Alice gear, slap on a BDU top and throw your Alice gear on there.
Yeah.
Boom, bang. You got a cool post. Or me, slap on an M1952A vest on there. Some 56 gear. Boom, bang, post. You could, that right there is perfectly acceptable. And again, if you have a nice white background, throw it in front of the white background, you're good. Do what you can with what you have, and then budget in stuff to make it better, if you can. And just think ahead, I guess, and plan, future, all that jazz. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty good. Again, thanks for being on and talking through this with me.
Oh, you're welcome.
I know it took us a little bit to get this one going, but, we had to really think about it. He'll be back again, of course, because he's kind of the semi-permanent host until he leaves me.
For good.
For good. No, he's not leaving for good. I got him forever. A life contract. But we'll sign off, and hopefully tune in again for another one in 2 weeks. So see you around.